Hello marketers, so you've been given a marketing budget to help promote a specific campaign by your company. It could be a product launch, it could be pushing a new feature if you're a software company, or it could be just increasing general brand awareness. Let me show you the approach that I take in order to create a good media plan and my approach to media buying and creating a framework in order to define what is a success and what isn't. Before we get to media planning, let's start with the basics. So the most important elements are, do you know what this campaign is all about? Have you pre-planned the messaging that you're going to be using? Have you defined who you're going to be targeting, what marketing channels you're going to be using? Ideally, before you launch a campaign, before you know your start date, you have an idea what these elements are, because if not, you're going to be struggling trying to rush into launching a campaign without some sort of a vision or a roadmap. The next thing is, and I find this a lot from my experience, where a lot of companies might just launch campaigns and there's no metric or primary KPI to define whether it's a success or not. A lot of brand marketing campaigns tend not to have primary KPIs. They might have an idea of impressions, traffic, and beyond that, it's a bit of a lost cause. I think every marketing campaign should have some sort of a KPI which dictates whether it was a success or not. Essentially a consensus of, did this work or not? That's all you need. You don't need to have accurate KPIs. We're just trying to envision what those potentially can be. And I'll show you what that visually looks like in a second. So assuming you have the basics in place, you know what those are, let's define what a media plan actually is. So a media plan is simply an outline or a visual outline of what the campaign is about. What's the objective? What's the budget that we have to work with? What exactly are we promoting? Are there different phases to this launch? What channels are we going to be using? What contextual targeting are we going to be using per channel, if that's relevant? And then finally, timelines, right? When does this start and when does it end? So let me show you that in a more visual manner. Screen share mode on. So just for context, this template is actually free on the Futures Marketers website, link below if you're interested. So this is a media plan. I think the main conclusion you need to derive from this video is that media plans are meant to be simple. We don't want anything complicated. We want our stakeholders or the marketing team, preferably the whole company, to understand this within a couple of minutes. So let's start with this left-hand side here. Let's breeze through this fairly quickly. Campaign name, I put new iPhone 20 launch. Let's just imagine this is for Apple. Objective, there's many different objectives in marketing, but just to keep it very simple, we'll put it as brand awareness. It can also be a traffic campaign if you want to increase website traffic. It could be engagement if this is a social media campaign. You want more followers, you want more comments and shares. If you're a B2B company, you would go lead generation. Sales, if you're e-commerce or direct to consumer, or if you're a subscription-based company or an app, you might use conversion-based. Again, we'll stick to brand awareness. So I put here strategy. People get confused by the term strategy and planning. So strategy is a vision or a long-term roadmap, right? So think of me based in London. I want to travel all the way to Rome. What's the roadmap? How do I get there? A plan is a specific checkpoint within that roadmap, right? I first need to go to point A to point B, and then point H is the end goal, which is to be in Italy. So yeah, strategy zoomed out, plan is zoomed in. Campaign budget, £100,000. Obviously, I'm sure Apple will have way more budget than £100,000. Flight date, so this is a simple outline of when the start and the end date of the campaign is. You can be more specific. As you can see in the strategy aspect, I've added in different phases. You can pause the video if you want. And those different phases might have different timelines. So you can be more granular if you want to. Again, I'm keeping it simple for the sake of making the video as short as possible. Extra details, this is if there's extra context that people need to know or you might want to remember. And then a status row here, which is quite self-explanatory. Is it in planning mode? Are we collecting assets? Are we building the campaign? Have we quality assured it? Is it scheduled? Is it live, completed, on hold? You'll be in this planning status for a while, FYI, especially the bigger the company is. Anyway, so this row 9 to 14, this is the gist of what a media plan should look like. So essentially, You can see here channel grouping. This is your marketing channels or your media mix. And if you go to the channel selection tab here, you can see a more expanded version of what the different channels are. Again, we won't go through every single one of these. Television, radio, print, out of home, digital out of home, paid social, search engine marketing or paid search, so on and so forth. So let's go back here. You can see the main ones I put here: performance marketing or paid advertising, social, search, display, audio, out of home, PR, media and publishers, events or field marketing if you want to make some sort of promotion in the physical world as well. So column D is your budget allocation, because you want to be able to understand this 100 grand, how is this going to be allocated per different media channels or channel groupings. I do specialize in performance marketing, so I tend to overinvest there, hence it has the highest budget and allocation. But generally it just gives you an idea or a breakdown of what the split should be per channel grouping. And then column E essentially reiterates what the objective of the campaign is. But it might be that your out-of-home campaigns or your events might be more brand awareness, but then your performance marketing aspects could be more direct response marketing. So you might actually change this objective to conversion based, whatever that metric is for you, or direct response. And then column F is same thing as what we mentioned, extra details. If there's any potential context or notes you want to remember for yourself or for that specific channel grouping or for your team. So essentially that's the gist of a media plan. It's nothing complicated. It's again a visual overview of what the campaign is and how it's going to be laid out. More specifically, how your budget will be laid out across different marketing channels. So the next tab here might be for a separate video, but this is more specifically zoomed in on performance marketing. So you can see here the channel grouping is paid social. Underneath that there's specific channels, right? So you can see Meta or Facebook ads, TikTok, Reddit, and then for paid search there's Google search, there's Performance Max, programmatic display, affiliate marketing, there's specific platforms or maybe specific influencers you're working with, and each of those marketing channels will have specific budgets. So you can essentially get more granular with your budget. So this is where we start to zoom in. And then very important for paid advertising is obviously your contextual targeting. Paid social, obviously it's going to be audience or interest based. Paid search, it's going to be keyword based. So this is where you would lay some of these details out. And then very important with media planning is forecasting metrics. And so this is a very top line version of it. So let's say performance marketing, it's all about direct response. You're looking for a specific conversion and you have some sort of an idea of what your cost per acquisition is or customer acquisition cost is. Let's say for Meta, that is £100. You can see CPA is £100. And assuming your budget for that channel is £5,000, you divide both numbers and you'll get 50 conversions. If we total that across all the different channels, we should be on paper gaining 967 conversions, assuming that we stick with our budget of £100,000 and our cost per acquisition is £103. But remember, our original plan for performance marketing was actually £50,000. So what we can do, I'm going to improv here. Let's do equals £50,000. That will rejig the numbers. So we can see that assuming we still get 967 conversions, divide the budget by the conversions and our average cost per acquisition will be £52. So it actually became cheaper. So that's all things media planning and media buying. If you want a more omni-channel version of this where we really deep dive, it might be an hour long, where we start to plan out how we would envision planning out a bigger campaign launch across every possible channel or marketing channel we use to reach our customers. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Until next time. Peace.